It's the 2024 fallow and red deer rut. We've got big plans, big mountains. Let's see how we go. Then I'll cut into this all sick B-roll footage of big bucks. This morning we've snuck into this scrape site. We're going to put a couple of trail cameras in here and see what happens over the next week. There's a little bit of activity, but generally it's quiet. There's a few reds making a bit of a moan up on the ridgeline, but one fallow, still a little bit early though. We've done a big loop this morning up this valley, up this southern face and back along to where we are now. It's been reasonably quiet. There were a few reds making a little bit of a moan in there earlier, but they closed up shop. It is early. We did get some trail cameras in though. That was our intention for this morning, and we've seen some fallow, so that's good. There's a couple of pigs out on this face over from where we are at the moment. So plan is we're going to drop down a level, probably lose 200 or 300 metres elevation and then go back up into that valley system a little bit lower than where we were. Just see what we find. I don't know if you'll get a gauge behind me of how steep it is up in here, but I've climbed right up onto the range. I've got a fallow buck 200 or 300 metres above me that's still having a bit of a croak. I thought it's worth the effort to come up and have a look because they're not too vocal this time of year. It's probably just a spiker and I've blown a whole heap of wind and sweat to get up here, but you never know, might be worth the effort. I've spent about an hour getting into position on this buck. I've got eyes on him through the timber. And it's an absolute crap head. There's no way I'm going to shoot it. So yeah, them's the breaks. seen a few deer, not huge numbers, but enough to keep us interested. The wind though, that's been really fickle. We seem to have chased our tails round and literally we have done a big circle. I've done a lot of walking today and I've got pigs up on this hillside in front of me and I can't help it. Three little echidnas, look at that. That's pretty cool. Never seen three together. I wonder if one's a female and in season or something. We've climbed up really high, we're in the mist. There's not much of a view because we can't see very far, but we're hoping once we get up on this high point that the wind's blowing a different direction, getting rid of that mist, and we do have some visibility. Time for a mountain lunch. Doesn't get much better than this. We managed to get up on our mountaintop. We've punched through the mist as expected. We did find plenty of animals up here, but nothing of interest. We found quite a few fallow does, smaller bucks. We did find a red stag, but it was only a young 4x5, and a couple of red hinds. Now we've got to walk our way all the way back around. So top of that frame there, the car is on the other side of that ridge, quite the distance away. I've noticed it seems to be the trendy YouTube influencer thing to do is to talk about deer scat when you're out hunting deer. So I'll try and keep it real, give you guys some tips. Hopefully it helps. That real wet, sloppy looking deer feces there, that's what happens when you eat a Portos. The plan now is I'm going to drop down under what we've named White Rock into this big catchment. The rut hasn't really started yet. The does are still by themselves, the stags and bucks They're off in their own little groups as well. Solitary, they're starting to mark their terrain, definitely marking, but they're not really cranking, so the volume and consistency of those croaks and roars is really low. They are making noise, but it's certainly nothing like it will be in the rut. It makes it a little bit harder, but we are still having fun. We've got 3 fallow bucks up here on this timberline in front of us. Looks like they've got quite a big scrape up there. None of them are shooters, but they're still keen to watch what they're up to. One's bedded down, the other 2 are up on their feet. There's another animal over here in the gully that's letting out a little bit of a croak, and another one on that side. Hopefully we can have a look at all of them. How cool's this? I've just had a buck come tearing down the ridgeline I was on into about 8 metres. Wasn't a shooter. Great experience though. How to tell if deer scat is fresh? Well, if it's green, it's still slimy, tastes like grass, it's got flies on it, generally a good start. Another chapter in my tale of feces is these Musashi cookies. Absolutely terrible. The deer probably won't even eat that. We reckon it'll be there next rut. And that's exactly where it's going to stay. I'm not eating that thing. I just wanted to give a big shout out to Bastian from ASA, or Australian Sporting Agencies. He's the supporting person behind these rut deer hunting videos. Big thanks to him. He sells all sorts of tools I'm sure you guys would like to have a look at. Have a look at his website and it's available in all your local stores. I'm definitely in the zone of a buck up in here. There's scrapes everywhere. Heaps of little brush torn up by it. Can't see anything at the moment. You can smell it. Just have to keep my eyes open, poke my way along. See if I can get eyes on it before it gets eyes on me. I've just gone about 75 metres from where I've seen all that deer sign, and I've just decked a really tidy little buck up here in this timber at about 40 metres. He was just scratching around in amongst some silky oaks, and there were some does up above him that actually gave away that there were animals up in there. Just across that little gully over there is where I saw all that deer sign. And just in there, in the timber, look at my finger shaking, is that buck that I've just shot. I've had a little bit of buck fever, I think. Didn't that work out well? Found some sign, slowed everything down, stalked in on an animal, took the shot, down he went. I've got a really nice impact, front shoulder. It was a pretty easy shot. I got to lean on a tree and it was about 40 metres range. Probably could have used a bow, to be honest. He didn't even know I was there. Sorry guys, not enough time to set the camera up on the zoom lens. It's very tight in here, it's hard hunting, and I'm finding getting video of that very difficult. I am glad I got this one. It is a really nice trophy for up in here with these free range bucks, but it does make you second guess yourself when you walk away from animals like I did this morning, looking for something a little bit more respectable. Makes it worthwhile when you do get one on the deck. I'm really happy with that. Now I've got to make the decision whether I take the head off and the back straps out of it and walk them all the way back to the car and then come up here and continue to hunt. It's a really nice day. It's certainly not to go to waste. I should continue. So I either pack everything out and come back in. I'm actually contemplating leaving my bag and gear up in here, taking the items out off this animal that I do want back to the car, and then trek back in, pick my things up and continue on. You know what, on reflection, I think that's exactly what I'll do. I can't get over how much fat is on this buck still. He's in amazing, look at that. He's in amazing condition, look at it. Swimming in it. I'm running these Havlon knives this trip. They're an interchangeable blade with a gut hook. They're around 3 inches. They're not the normal little flimsy Havlon blade that folds up within the handle. It's a lockable pull apart handle and an interchangeable around 3-inch blade with the gut hook. It's quite robust, and I must say it is still very, very sharp after doing just one backstrap. We'll rip this other one out, then we'll start on his head. It's worth carrying a saw and a good knife. This is much more manageable to carry out now. I've just legged it out and back with that skull cap and just my rifle. I've got back to the pack and the big camera, and I've got a red deer over on this face, middle of the day, having a bit of a roar. Well, that's a no-brainer. Guess which direction I'm headed? I'm not sure what happened to that red stag. He's been all quiet for about 2.5 hours now. I climbed up a long way looking for that animal. It's a little bit of a shame, but it is hunting. So my plan this afternoon, while I've got daylight, I'm going to contour this hillside back out along to the fence line and then cut my way back down into the valley, walk out to the car. I'm just working my way down a ridge line and I've woken this fella up. He's in my path, which is a little bit annoying. I didn't particularly want to stay this high, so I'm just going to have to bump him along, I think. There goes fallow buck. He wasn't a real big one, so lucky there. That's what happens when you talk to the camera sometimes. I'm going to focus on getting down off this hillside. I've still got a lot of elevation to drop and a fair way to go to the car. I hope you've enjoyed what I've got up to today. It's certainly been very exciting. Let's continue again tomorrow. We've just come for a walk up into this big basin this morning and the deer are completely quiet. We've sat up under a tree for about an hour and we've had this really solid boar feed in underneath us and he's gone to sleep literally 40 metres from the tree that we were at. So what's a fella to do? We weren't going to shoot any deer in here this morning, so I've wandered in. My mate's lent me his new Weatherby 307 to have a play with, and I must say, I do really like a nice 270, and it's done an absolute number on this pig.
It's a 6.5 Creedmoor.
It's a what?
6.5 Creedmoor.
A 6.5 Creedmoor?
That's it.
Well, I think I now need a man bun.